when I was reading about you, about life back then, about music, even in Marion. So again, you got 700 people. The Greens, I don't know if they're still around, but Dan Green and my grandfather were partners at the Marion. Actually had a bank too. That's why I was asking all these questions.
I know some Greens in Bastrop.
Yeah, I know there's some around. They were a pretty prominent family, but they had a little money, and their kids had some amps. They had some Fenders, So I remember going over there and going, because I had a Kalamazoo, which was made by Gibson, but it was really a piece of junk, and a K guitar, electric guitar. But they had like Fender guitars and Fender amps. They had real stuff that sounded real loud. It was cool. So is there anybody around your town? Do you have any buddies how'd you get fired up early?
My dad lived here for years, 10
in
years.
Nashville?
Yeah, his name was Scotty Robinson, and he tried to be an artist and played and whatnot. So ended up playing with like Freddie Fender and Freddie Hart on the road. So when he gave it all up, that's how started a family, and I just played with Dad.
Cool. So I saw, let's see, Louisiana Hayride, Keith Whitley fan, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Great singers, and you got a big old voice, kind of like Keith had. We were buddies, We wrote some songs together. I actually cut a couple of things on him, but Don Gant was my first publisher who produced some sides. Keith really loved him because Don had cut That's the Way Love Goes.
Yeah.
And he actually cut stuff on Lefty, Brazil.
Okay.
Which Keith was a huge fan of Lefty's, So he went in and so he started hanging out and writing songs over there. And man, what a good guy he was. But did you ever chase anything besides country music? Or?
No, that was it. Well, I was in a little gospel trio when I was like 14 to 16, which was pretty cool because once I left them, they actually came to Nashville and got a deal, and they've had a couple of hit songs on the gospel charts, which is cool. But I just did that because grew up in church and that's what we did. So
gotta sing. Yeah, but I saw you. You did a cool version of like an Ed Sheeran song. I saw it. Looked at a couple of your things online.
I grew up loving old school country music. Keith Whitley and George Strait and all those guys. But the older I got, my buddies are listening to everything, so I start listening to everything. So I just love music. So, yeah,
that's how it is, and I think it's hard people that throw rocks at country music that doesn't sound like Lefty for Sale or whatever, Yeah. I mean, nobody knows what traditional is anymore anyway. But I went to college at Tech, and I mean, I didn't care. The kids that came to see me play didn't care what we were playing if it was fun and it was good.
That's it.
I mean, I played Hank Williams songs, and I played Rolling Stones, and I played Frank Zappa songs, and and Johnny Cash and Roger Miller songs. It was just whatever makes you feel good and whatever you can deliver.
Yeah.
That seems to be. And then I think once you start writing songs, all that just goes in the gumbo. You just stir it up and somehow it comes out however it does.
However it comes out, yep.
So y'all had, growing up, dances, stuff like that.
We had dances. I wasn't really a dancer, so I didn't go to the dances, but we just hung out, man. We would literally just meet at a buddy's house and either ride dirt roads all night or go build a fire somewhere. That's it to do,
Isn't it funny how people that don't grow up in the country think this whole bonfire tailgate thing is some manufactured songwriter thing?
No, it's the real deal. that's it.
The same way. It's like for us, it was Wallace Lake Dam in Shreveport.
Yeah.
When I first got a car, that's where I was living there, and it's when you get off work in the evenings. We didn't have cell phones and stuff. You knew where everybody was going to be, where they were going to go.
And we didn't spend much time in the bars because that's where all the fights happen. We just wanted to go have some fun. So, like you said, we just either go to a buddy's house or build a fire.
House party.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've kind of been doing the Nashville thing for a while. I mean, does it ever get your back up? People talk about how new you are when you've been doing this, kind of having records out for like 10 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I moved here when I was 19. Got my record deal with Curb Records at 19, and then I'm 27 now, so really didn't have really success until last year, you know. But I think it's cool that people think, hey, he's new, he's brand new, because you know they don't see the behind the scenes that we've been doing, busting on the road for the past 7 years.
How'd you travel when your first record came out? What was touring like for Dylan back then?
It was tough. I think I lost my hair because of it. No, I got my hair, but man, we had a 1999 Ford diesel van, and it was awful. It smelled awful, and we had like 8 guys in it, you know, just crammed in there, and I mean, literally driving ourselves gig to gig, sometimes overnight just to get there, and it was tough. I mean, it really, really was tough. But you had to do it.
And how many of those guys still run with you?
All of them.
Really?
Still got the same crew. Yeah.
Wow. Have you got a bus yet?
I do. I got a bus last October.
Wow.
So changed the game.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I've had quite a few acts in here that have had several hits and are still, you know, van and trailer and whatever. Yep. Just thinking about the bus. I'm trying to think who was in. Somebody was in here, but oh, I know who it was. Morgan Evans is in here. He flies all his stuff.
Yeah, he's like a one-man band though. Yeah,
because it's cheaper than, but still that's cheaper than bussing.
Absolutely. Yeah. People don't realize how much buses are.
So your band's how big?
Well, now there's 10 of us. We got a full bus. So.
But your band?
But the band itself is it's myself, and then my little brother is my guitar player.
Oh, cool.
Phenomenal guitar player. And then I have a drummer and a bass player who are also their brothers. So there's 2 sets of brothers. So there's 4 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How good is it when you get news after you guys working that way for that long that our record just went #1 or we're in the top 10? You know, every week when you're watching the chart, we're still moving up. And
yeah, I remember last year when My Girl went #1, we were about 15 minutes from walking on stage in a concert in Ohio when they called us and said, all right, we're #1. I mean, the energy that night on stage was a little different, but it makes everything, it puts everything in perspective. Like all this hard work we've been doing, it's like we have the top song in the country. Like it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's good. How y'all celebrate?
Well, we're not real partiers. Nobody really parties on the road, but we don't drink, but I don't know, man. We just get on the bus and sit around and just have a good time, you know? Yeah.
That's cool, man. What's your next ambition for next year? What are your goals?
Just to continue what we're doing, just continue growing it. I mean, I remember in that 1999 black diesel van, we left Nashville and went to Montana and played for 12 people. And we've just watched it go from 12 to 100 to 500, and you know, now we're playing any given night 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. So, I mean, my goal is just to continue to go 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people, and you know, headline some arenas. That would be nice, you know. But just to continue to watch it grow this next year and keep going up.
Touring? Have you been approached by any tours?
Yeah, I've went out with Lee Brice a couple of years ago, and then I just got off a tour a few months ago with Justin Moore. Those guys they're awesome, but. We're doing our own little headlining tour first of the year, which will be fun, and just after that, still doing our own stuff, you know, building it market by market.
Songwriting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is really cool because these days I've got a wife and son now, so when you get off the road, you tend to find yourself devoting more time at home with them instead of coming into town. But now that you have a bus, you can bring your buddies out with you. You can ride on the road, which is fun.
Yeah, well. Makes it a little difficult when there's 11.
A little bit, but we make it work.
Got to get a dressing room or something like that.
Absolutely.
I've had a lot of people over the years say how hard it is to ride on the road, you know, when you're out there, and it was always where I wrote my songs.
Yeah.
You know, and
you have so much downtime on the road,
That's
you know?
it. Yeah.
There's so much downtime. I mean, instead of just sitting on the bus, I mean, go do something. So we'll go around the town and then come back, and like you said, we'll find a dressing room and we'll set up and we'll write.
Hotel room, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming off stage, I mean, I can't tell you how many songs at least got started or half written. Just walking right off stage, you got something in your head because you have all that energy and all those people, and it's just kind of, the music's in you at that point, you know. sometimes when you're home and, like you say, you got wife, kids, and that kind of thing, that's the ultimate distraction because you've been away. You want to spend time with them, not keep doing it necessarily. Get a little muse.
Yep.
Tell me about your baby.
He's 8 months. His name's Beckett. And it's awesome. People tell you all the time, you know, I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I love them to death. They said, "Wait till you have your own," and it's the same way. I remember yesterday actually, I came in off the road, and I haven't seen him in 5 days. He's 8 months, you know. I mean, his personality's just kind of kicking in, but he's crawling a little bit. And I walk in the door, and he sits up. He's in the kitchen. He looks at me, and you can just tell. He knew, like, that's my daddy. That's my daddy, you know. And he started crawling as fast as he could, and his eyebrows were up. And, man, that right there was probably so far the coolest moment.
Yeah.
It's like I walk in the door, and he came to me. So
and it is weird. If you if you don't have kids of your own, you think, well, they're just little blobs at that age.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're starting to dial it in, and it's really kind of one of the most exciting times.
Yeah.
It's all good. But, man, when they first start to recognize you and realize it's hard to explain to people.
Yeah. One of my favorites right now is when I wake up in the mornings, he's usually awake, standing up in his crib, pulled up, just looking at the bed, saying, "All right, Mom, Dad, it's time to get up," you know. So
just wait till he learns how to crawl out of there.
Yeah, I know.
That's a tipping point right there. You know, they get their own room, and both our kids, it was like a barrier for them. I mean, they could climb the walls, but they wouldn't climb out of their crib. And I remember that first morning, when I heard something, I looked over on the side of the bed, and there's Molly standing there like, "Hey, Dad." Uh-oh.
My wife called me the other morning. We have his crib like next. It's in our room next to the curtains of the window. She said she's laying in bed, kind of waking up, and didn't realize he was up. Next thing she knows, the curtains just fly open. So he's learning. He's learning.
Who's producing your records now?
Jim Ed Norman, and one of my best friends, Matt Alderman, who I was roommates with for a couple of years before I got married, and then Kurt Gibbs.
Jim Ed, I mean, what a great music man. I've known him forever, you know, from the Eagles to now.
Yeah.
He's just an incredible. So does he work with you guys in the studio, or does he kind of oversee stuff?
No, he comes in. He comes in and rolls his sleeves up and gets down. So it's a lot of fun. Really, I mean, his stories are just
great history there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And what do you feel like your guys bring to the table?
I mean, like I said, you're working with your best friend, which is a lot of fun. You know, it's fun working. You want the studio and recording process to be fun, you know. And so he's young. He's from Chicago. I feel like he grew up a lot different than I grew up, which is in a way cool. You know, the way he listened to music that I didn't listen to. And then you have Jim Ed, who's quite a bit older than we are, who can bring something even totally different to the table from working back in the day.
Yeah.
And then we have Kurt Gibbs, who is he's just an all around amazing producer.
What's Kurt do?
Kurt's like a track guy. You know, he knows that world of loops and drum patterns and all that stuff. So he's just really good when it comes to that.
Yeah. People outside of our business don't really know what track guy means. But in writing in Nashville now, where it used to just be a guitar and a sharp pencil and a piece of paper. Now when you show up at writing sessions, so many times you're writing in a studio situation where a guy is looping and putting all the music together, and that's a whole part of the writing process a lot of times.
It is. It brings a different vibe to the room too, and energy, which is kind of cool. I mean, a lot of the stuff on my next album was started in the back of a bus, which is hard to believe, you know. In the back of the bus, there's stuff back there that makes it on a record. It's not all in the studio.
That's cool, though, man. Well, it's good to see you doing good, and congrats, especially on your last 2 records. And,
thank you.
Man, you're a good singer, got a lot of talent, and it's really fun to see a band that's worked as hard as you guys starting to catch that wave, you know, get your big surfboard out and head for the shore, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Good. Well, congratulations. Good to see you.
Appreciate it. You too. Thank you very much.
Love it.
Yeah, that's it.